and welcome to the Energy Forecast 2022. And over the course of January, I'm going to be interviewing 9 experts on the energy of 2022. So you can get a free workbook. You can see the link here. Please go to this link and you can sign up for a free workbook about the energy of 2022. Every single expert that I interview, I'm asking them to give me an exercise of something you guys can do and integrate into your lives to make 2022 the most amazing year ever. So go to that link, sign up for your free 2022 energy workbook. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. From the 7th of January, we're going to be having 9 experts, astrologers, numerologists, shamanic practitioners. I'm going to be talking about the Akashic Records. We're going to have lots of different experts discussing the energy of 2022 and how you can utilize this energy to have your best year yet. So hello and welcome to the Dharma.Life podcast. I'm your host, Aloise Surfleet-Middleton. And today I am bringing you my first guest in the 2022 energy forecast. She's a very dear old friend of mine. She actually came on my podcast, my goodness, 5 years ago. And when I got the download about this beautiful energy series, I knew that Jane Alton would have so much wisdom to give. So Jane Alton is an numerologist, esoteric numerologist. Yeah. Not only that, she's an expert in tarot, and she's going to explain how they both link to one another. And she's been practicing numerology for the last 20 years. So Jane, welcome to the Energy Report 2022.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you. Lovely to see you again.
And where are you based in the UK, Jane?
Kent. I'm based in Kent.
Right. Yeah, I can't believe you've been a practicing numerologist for 20 years. That is some achievement.
It's my passion in life. I was an investment performance analyst for 15 years. I've been a business analyst for 10. So I've always analysed numbers, but I'm analysing them in a way that's a lot more significant, I think, for me and for individuals. It's Absolutely. Not just about the money.
Well, this is it.
It's about number. We use numbers every day, but they're actually sacred symbols. They represent energies.
Well, that's what I'd love you to do to start with, actually, if you don't mind, for our audience. It's just because obviously you're an esoteric numerologist, and this comes from Pythagoras originally.
Pythagoras is the father of modern numerology, and he was about 600 years before Christ. So numerology is a very ancient practice. Everything evolves in cycles. Everything comes down to vibration. Everything is in a constant state of flux. Even when we're asleep, there's blood going around our bodies, the heart's pumping, etc. So everything is in a constant state of flux. And when we look at nature, we can see everything is evolving in cycles. Nothing is in a straight line, if you like, including our lives. The theory with numerology is we're born into a unique set of circumstances, tailor-made for us to learn what we need to learn to complete what we're here to do.
Is that our birth date?
With numerology, it's the name on our birth certificate, even if we never use it, as well as our date of birth. I get very involved with people changing their names, etc., because that adds whole new dimensions to what you've come in with. But the bottom line is we have a unique piece of the puzzle to complete. And when we're doing what we're here to do, things can fall into place. Things can happen more easily. If everyone in your family is a doctor and you're expected to be a doctor, your mission or your song is about being an artist. You could work very hard and become a doctor. The minute you start doing creative work, when you're doing what you're here to do, things happen more easily and you find your groove, if you like.
Absolutely. So when we're in alignment with our soul,
yes, totally,
through our numbers.
Yeah, the universe absolutely wants us to do what we're here to do, and it can be quite tangible, the universe supporting us and guiding us when we're doing what we're here to do.
Fantastic. So obviously we've got the birthday energies, and then we've got the vibration of the name.
Yeah, right. The name represents everything we bring with us. With numerology, we very much talk about past lives. The one bit that's live, if you like, is what we're here to do. That's in the future. So the name represents everything we've brought with us from past lives, and it's about applying that possibly in a different way in this lifetime.
as you know, I kind of decided to change mine because I wanted to match my soul mission, which was given to me at birth. So yes, it's very, very powerful.
Changing your name can be extremely powerful. Yes, I also get very involved with names of businesses, etc. as well. But a name is very powerful. It's our vibration. It's what the world sees, if you like. It's what people pick up on.
Yeah, and I think what people don't realize as well is, like, my husband and I have companies where we name numerologically because of the vibration of the company. You know, that you have a vibration of a person, but you have everything has a vibration, everything.
Yeah, I get very involved with names of businesses. So I'd start with the personal numerology and align the business to that person's particular numerology. So you also the names and the phrases you put on your website, etc. Everything can align, and that can help with things running more smoothly.
So in the 2022 energy series, which you are our first guest, the idea and the concept is that we are helping our listeners unpack the energy of 2022. You know, forewarned is forearmed, and, you know, in a way. So the more we can become conscious, raise our vibration, and understand the energy and the vibration of the year and work with it accordingly, as you just said, Jane, which I thought was a really beautiful point, is we want to be going with the flow rather than against it. So could you kind of give a little overview for me of, you know, what you can see for 2022 and what would be kind of poignant for our listeners?
To start with, by saying how key it is, we've now got a 2 at the front of the year. We've had 1900 years with a 1 at the front of the year, which basically meant for most of that time, everyone would have a 1 in their charts. And the 1 is a completely different energy to the 2. The 1 is dominated by fire. It's a very masculine energy. The 2 is dominated by water, the moon. It's a very feminine energy. At the moment, everyone aged up to about 21 will have a 2 in their charts. And in about 100 years' time, everyone will have a 2 in the charts. And the 2 is a completely different energy to the 1. With the 2, you've got separation for the first time. In the tarot, the 2 is going behind the veil. It's about going into the mystery. So year 2000, you've got the 2 at the front of the year. You've got 3 zeros. And the 0 in numerology is the potential. It's the no thing that everything comes from. It's eternal. It's everything comes from this incredible potential that we basically have within ourselves. So year 2000, incredible potential for creativity. And for the first time, we're experiencing that 2 energy. So 2000 to 2010, we're literally experiencing that energy for the first time. 2011 to 20, they're what we call karmic numbers. Okay. We've experienced the energy for the first time, and now we're running with it, if you like. We've passed our driving test, we're running with it. And the 20 is about giving birth to something, actually. So 2020, we all had to go into the quiet, didn't we?
We were all kind of taken.
We're all forced to look within. Whereas the 1 is out there, non-stop, I'm in charge, won't be told how to do anything. The 2 is completely different. The 2 is about the diplomat, the facilitator, the coordinator, looking at both sides of the situation. And whereas the 1 has to be in the front and has one solution, one way of doing everything, the 2 likes to work behind the scenes. So potentially we have new types of leaders emerging who want to take everyone with them, who see both sides of a situation. And 2020, you've got 2 20s, you know, it's literally the birth of something. And the birth of something can be violent. Obviously, there's a gestation period, innate creativity with the 20. And with 2020, you've got a 4. 2020, the 2 and the 2 is a 4. And you've also got a 22 4 as well. And the 22 4 is about building a new world. It's basically the old structures coming down.
Brilliant. Well, which is what we're seeing.
It's not going to happen overnight. But that's what's going to happen. And obviously, people who've benefited from how things have always been, there'll be massive resistance from that, particularly the people at the top who've benefited from the existing structure. But, you know, hopefully the people at the top, if they've got a good head on their shoulders, will recognise they have customers and voters who looking at things in a different way and demanding certain things, possibly realizing the strength they have. And obviously with computers, etc., we can get into groups more easily. So anyway, 2020 is the birth of the new world, basically. It's a trajectory for the next 1,000 years. It's the beginning. And 2021 adds up to a 5. And we've also got a 23 5 as well. And the 5 is the mind. which touches every single number. And the 5 is the one number that can move to the higher mind. And with the 23-5, that 3 in 23, that 3 has got a 0 behind it. If you think 20 plus 3 is 23, so that's 3 has a 0 behind it. So it's incredible creativity, but born of emotion. And the 5 is all about movement. You know, you've got the 4 holding everything together, systematic, orderly, grounded. But numerology is like the journey of the number 1. So that 4's got the fire and passion in it. And the 5 is breaking out of that box, using your 5 senses to find your truth, to live your truth. So with 2021, there was potentially a lot of searching, a massive change. We had the ideas, but we doubted ourselves. So lots and lots of ups and downs. The 23rd letter is a W. So 23, we can be very up and down. You've got the ideas, but you doubt yourself. And 2022, you've got a 6, which is about taking responsibility. The 6 is about wanting perfection, wanting perfect harmony in time and space, because you've also got a 24-6 there, which is new structures born of emotion, the 24. So the 4 has got the 0 behind it in the 24-6. So it's new structures born of emotion. And if you think of 24 hours in the day, etc., the 24 is looking for perfect harmony in time and space, and can be quite ruthless about getting what they want, actually. But it is about new structures starting to emerge.
And what I'm hearing, I'm just going to like reiterate it and break it down for people. So what I've heard from what you've just said is that when we've gone into 2020, we've almost gone into a new era,
yes,
which is more about collectivism and higher consciousness rather than the individual.
Yes.
And then the first few years are kind of almost like a shaky start within this kind of creative period. Yeah. And now we're starting to find our feet and build new foundations.
New structures.
From harmony and from love.
It's also the age of Aquarius, you know, which is obviously about the brotherhood of man. It is about looking at things in a completely different way. And the thing about the 6, the ancient symbol for the 6, just a quick diagram here. This is the ancient symbol for 6. It's about perfection. It's this tight coil trying to make everything perfect. If we look at this diagram here, very ancient symbol for 6, you've got perfection. You've also got the 2 triangles. You've got the 2 trinities. So you've got heaven and earth coming together. You've got the inner and the outer coming together. Think about the 6. There's a potential to uncoil, to become this cup for spirit. It's about seeing the beauty without the perfection. It's about uncoiling to become this cup for spirit. And we can only uncoil from the inside out. It can't be done any other way. So we've been forced, you know, the 6 is also about as far as we can go in nature. If you look at the 6 tarot card, and tarot comes from numerology, by the way. So this is the 6, tarot card. You've got the decision to be made. Do I stay in the 5 senses, or do I move to the much higher ground? So this person here, she's got flowers in her hair, she's barefooted, and she's sort of cuddling up to this person. It's about staying in your comfort zone.
What does that mean for the individual? So let's break this down and make it applicable for our listeners. What does that mean for them?
Potentially, we're forced out of our comfort zones. I mean, next year will be a 7, which is about connecting with spirit in a whole new way, uncoiling to be this cup for spirit. We want to stay in our comfort zones. Everyone agrees the world, we can't carry on as we are, but everyone wants to stay in their comfort zones. And, you know, with COVID, etc., we're forced out of our comfort zones, all of us.
It's exactly what's been happening, isn't it? Like, you know, I would say in our community, I was asking everyone, you know, have you grown more in the last 18 months than ever before? And pretty much 99% of people said they've grown more in the last 2 years than they have for the whole of their life.
Yeah. And also people who are not used to having restrictions put on them, as, you know, having to, well, some of us, you know, and most of us are having to restrict ourselves and
navigate it.
And some people are not used to any sort of restrictions, you know, so, and also to become aware of other people, possibly in a different way. It's interesting with the 2, you've got separation, but you've also got coming together. So the way people come together after that separateness is different.
Right. Okay. So we've gone through this period of almost like isolation, being forced inwards, and then how we come out of that period is more collective.
Yeah. Yes. The 2 is a diplomat, facilitator, coordinator. It's about the collective. It's about the peacemaker. It's about seeing both sides of a situation.
So if somebody wants to navigate this year, then what is the kind of key piece of advice? What's the invitation that you're seeing in the numbers?
I mean, we all want to be part of the solution, not the problem, if you like.
Of course, yeah.
And collectively with the 6, it's about us all taking responsibility. There are a lot of people with a vested interest in us believing we've got no choice. You know, we have to buy this, we have to look like this. And a lot of us have found in this period of COVID, etc., that we possibly don't need all the things we thought we needed. Many of us have found we can work from home, for example. We don't need to commute. We don't need to look a certain way every day because we're working via Zoom or whatever. So it is about taking responsibility with regard to how much we recycle, picking up litter in our communities, and possibly getting to know our neighbours. I mean, many of us know all about lots of celebrities we'll never meet, but don't know our neighbours. So, you know, responsibility for 6 is not just about the immediate home, it's also about the community.
So it's taking responsibility for creating the world we want to live in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that would be a beautiful thing that people could do.
Yes.
This year would be to think, okay, what can I do personally to take responsibility within my home, for recycling, for growing food?
Yeah, growing your own vegetables is a wonderful example. Connecting with the earth again.
What I'm seeing is we've kind of all have been shifted externally out into this busy world, and then almost the world stopped, didn't it, with COVID, and now we're being called within, and obviously the hero's journey is within. You know, it's not external, it's within us. And now it's about taking responsibility for our hero's journey and for what we want.
Our environment is always, I've been practicing Buddhism 25 years as well. No, more than that, 30, only a long time, 28 years, gosh. Anyway, but whether you're Buddhist or not, it's possibly a concept more and more people are accepting, that our environment is a reflection of our inner world. So it's always about a change on the inside. If we want harmony on the outside, we have to find the harmony within ourselves. You know, all over the world, we've got people trying to enforce peace with guns, and it doesn't work.
No,
it has to be, you know, peace isn't just the absence of war. It's actually, it's about stepping away from the drama and actually connecting with who we truly are, rather than who we have. You know, in so many environments, we can have fear pushed on us, especially the work environment. You know, turn the television on or whatever. And again, it's recognizing we have a choice, you know, in how we respond and the environment we want.
Yeah, and I
spending
think
time in the garden, etc., rather than possibly
we create our reality, don't we? And so we have a choice whether we tune into the noise out there or whether we don't. We just kind of, you know, we know, okay, it's there, but we don't have to focus on it.
Exactly. We have a choice in how we respond. And there's so many people who benefit from us believing we've got no choice. So many industries would not exist if we all felt good about ourselves. They're feeding on us feeling inadequate. Anyway, it's about stepping away from all of that for your health, just for a few moments a day, to reconnect with your truth.
Absolutely. So taking responsibility for how we view life, how we see life, how we want to show up in life.
And also for your happiness. I mean, it's not about other people making us happy. It's not about buying this to become happy. It's not, oh, I'll be nice to people when I've got £1 million in the bank. It's always about from this moment now, as well as this from this moment. All we have for certain is this moment now. Absolutely. And it's about finding the peace this moment now.
Can you speak to the 22? Because obviously 22.
Oh, sorry,
no, not at all. But I just thought, because obviously 22 is a very powerful number in numerology. Like, I know I've got a life path number.
Yeah,
it's 22.
It's the master builder 22. Yeah.
Can you explain that for our audience?
What, the 22?
Yeah, just speak about the master builder number, because obviously it is a very powerful number.
Well, you've got, obviously with the 22, you've got 2 2s. So you've got lots of emotion, you've got lots of sensitivity, and the 2, that second 2 has got a 0 behind it. So the lower 2 is lots of emotion. The higher 2, if you like, with the zero behind it, is the love wisdom coming in to drive the emotion. And the love wisdom connects us with this much bigger picture. It can mean we exude a confidence and charisma we might not always feel inside. It means we attract big projects, but it's basically thinking in terms of changing the world, basically. So it's literally the master builder, but it is born of emotion. And obviously 2022, we've got 3 2s just in the year. So obviously we've got 22nd of February 2022, when there is a lot of 2 energy.
Wow, that's a lot of 2s.
Yeah, there's great sensitivity, and great sensitivity can mean we misrepresent ourselves. We become very negative. We're so sensitive, we can be easily exploited. We can be all over the place, so it is about mastering our emotions. A key thing is to see our sensitivity as the strength it is, rather than it stopping us doing things. It can initiate things by tuning into other people, by tuning into our own feeling, not just responding with emotion, but again, stepping away from the drama to reflect, to allow our sensitivity to initiate actions that are based on compassion. Responses which are pure emotion can be very negative. It's basically fear, isn't it? When it's pure emotion, and this can be a lot of drama, a lot of sarcasm, a lot of spite, it can be very negative.
There's a real duality here playing out. You said you've got the fear energy, which could be magnified through the twos. But also you've got the love and harmony energy on the flip side of it.
And the compassion. And again, if our life is this size and our problems are this size, this is all we see. But if our life is this size, we've still got the same problems, but we look at things differently. So when everything is just about us, and when we're internalizing things can get out of perspective. They can get bigger and bigger and bigger. But through helping others, connecting with others, because our problems, in quotes, actually connect us with others. There is no such thing as an easy life for anybody, no matter how much money you've got or whatever. And it can actually be the cement that connects us. It can actually be, rather than isolate us, why me? Why is it just happening to me? Why do I have all these problems? But if we can connect with others and realize other people have, what's major for me might not come on someone else's radar, but they have problems as well. Reaching out to others, connecting to others. A positive aspect to the COVID is the fact that the whole planet has been fighting the same enemy. I'm oversimplifying, but we have learnt to work together. We have achieved a great deal through cooperation. And I think it's about building on that cooperation with these 3 twos in the year, and hopefully we've seen things from different perspectives.
So almost like everybody uniting over how they can change the planet collectively together and taking responsibility.
It's so key, such a key time for the planet. The next 20 years are so absolutely crucial.
It sounds to me like there's almost like the opportunity would be to unite over how we can change the planet, but also the pitfall, the flip side of that is basically we fall into the fear and get separated even more.
But it's about feel the fear and do it anyway, because we've run out of time. Our children, we don't own the earth, we're visitors. It's what sort of planet we're leaving our children.
Absolutely.
Countries like China, there's certain areas of China where you can't breathe the air, and no matter how much money you've got, you can't breathe the air. So they pay people a lot of money to go and work there, or people don't go and work there, so they're realizing they have to clear the air so people will actually choose to live there. It's reaching the point everyone's lives are touched. Absolutely. Initially, with the global warming, it seemed to be just the poorer countries that were suffering, but we're reaching the point it's going to be touching everybody's lives. But it can connect us. We've all got, again, we all working together to save the planet, in theory.
I think it's for me anyway. I'm afraid global warming is not something I actually believe in, but I genuinely, it's not so much that, it's more for me, I would say it's the opportunity we've got as a collective to come together to create the planet that we want to live in. Like, I love what you said about responsibility. This would be the change you wish to see in the world, exactly. And that is what everybody has to kind of really understand, but they're doing that by going inward in their own journey as well. And then, Jane, the other thing I'd like you to just talk to a little bit is, obviously you an esoteric, and then you use the tarot. So can you just talk, you said there's a relationship between the two of them.
The tarot comes from numerology. I personally use tarot. I teach tarot, but I also use tarot when I give readings. I don't give readings from the tarot, but you've got the journey of the soul illustrated. Do you want me to sort of go through briefly?
Yeah, it'd be great just
very quickly. I also use this a great deal. It's called the detractors when I'm giving readings as well.
What is it?
So you've got the one, the very naive energy.
Yeah.
He's so very naive energy. If you look there, he's got the baton pointed up to the heavens, and he's got all the tools to do the job with, there, all the elements represented. You've got air, water, fire. And then you've got the two, which we're talking about, which is about going behind the veil. going into the mystery. And as you might see, there's a book there.
Yep.
Okay, and so going behind the veil into the mystery, and this is the open book, the Trinity. She's got all the light pouring through. She's, you know, if we come back to this, to tractors here, so you've got the 1, and then you've got the separation for the first time with the 2, and then you've got the 3. So you've got the Trinity, and everything comes from this Trinity. So with this 3, anything is possible. Okay, the light's pouring in, anything is possible. You've got the masculine, feminine, the 1 and the 2, potential, all working together. Anything is possible. That bird there.
That's next year then, potentially.
Yeah, that's the 3. And then you've got the 4. So that bird has gone from fluffy and happy to completely trapped. And if you compare the 3 with the 4, it's a completely different energy. She's looking straight on. Anything is possible. Light's pouring in. He's totally defensive. He's sitting on what he's created, looking out on what he can't see. So he's got all the defensive gear on his head. And that bird is completely trapped. And if I just show you another diagram here, this is another diagram here. This is showing the 4 in the middle between the created world. So we've got 1, 2, 3, mineral, vegetable, animal, created world that we come from. And you've got 5, 6, 7, you've got soul, angelic spirit, the creative that you can't see. And the 4 is in the middle.
Yeah.
So he's looking out on what he's defending what he's created, looking out on what he can't see. And then you've got the 5. So you've got the 1, 2, 3 here, and a massive jump from the 3 to the 4. So this Trinity, anything is possible.
Hold it up a little bit, please.
But it's a massive jump from that 3 to the 4.
Right.
And then you've got 4, 5, 6, which is the physical that comes from this Trinity.
Right.
And the 5 in the middle here is the mind, touching every single number. And the 6 that we spoke about is as far as you can go in this physical. Okay. And the 6 is where we are at the moment. And there's a massive, massive jump from the 6 to the 7. As we said, the 6 can be this tight coil trying to make everything perfect, but it's about uncoiling to be this cup for spirit.
Do we go through this, obviously the same cycle in every 10 years then? Right.
Yeah, I mean, this, and also this 1 to 9 applies to everything we do. If you think about it, you wake up in the morning, that's the 1, the will, then the 2 when you weigh things up, then the 3 when you have the idea, and the 4 when you physically get on with it, when the 5 when the mind comes in, and the 6 takes responsibility for what you've done, and then the 7, I mean, the 7 is running with it. So the 6 opens up to spirit, and the 7 just, it's walking your talk, it's go with it. It's about the mind, it's about walking your talk.
So this is why for people listening, it would be important for them to understand their personal year within the years, within the 6.
Oh yeah, personal year. Your personal year comes from adding the number of your birthday number with your month. So it's the day of your birth and your month, you add those 2 together, and then you add the number that comes from the year. So this year, 2022 is a 6. So basically you add the day and the month together and you get a number, you add 6 to that, and then you've got your personal year. So it's what your focus should be ideally this year. And it's the calendar year. So it's from your birthday to your birthday.
So that kind of gives you the theme and it's where you're at.
It's ideally what your focus should be this year. So if you add in your birthday and your month, you add those 2 together and you add 6 to that, and then you reduce the number. So you reduce the number. So if it's a 19, it's 1 plus 9 is 10, reduces to 1, etc. So if you've got a 1 personal year, ideally it is about go for it. If it's a 2 personal year, it's gestation, it's weigh things up, it's take your time weighing things up. If it's a 3, it's very much about being creative, full of ideas. The 4, it's about build something solid. The 5 is the mind, breaking out of the box, using your 5 senses to find your truth. This is a diagram I like to use for the 5. If you've got a 6, it's about focus on the home, and obviously the whole year is a 6. So if your personal year is a 6, you'll feel very in rhythm. It's about taking total responsibility. It's about focusing on the home as much as possible. And the 7 is very much about trusting that inner voice, following that inner voice, staying true to yourself at the deepest level. The 8 is a massive reevaluation. This 8, we call this the shape of karma. It's about
as above, so below.
Yes, and it's also about spirit going deep into whatever, to bringing everything to the surface, to look at things in the light of day, to reevaluate. Do I take this with me? Do I let this go? Do I want to think like this anymore? So the 8 on one level is the manager, efficient, organized, make things happen. But it's also very much, as you say, about spirit and matter working together. It's ultimately about changing these patterns that will otherwise go on forever. So the more that's brought to the surface to be looked at, the smaller these circles get, and eventually it's about spirit and matter working together. And then you've got the 9, which is a massive letting go. Everything evolves in cycles. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is literally going back through every cycle.
Have a little trick. We always have a little trick when we sell a house, Jane, that we make sure that it adds up to 9.
Oh, excellent. Massive letting go. Brilliant. I mean, if you compare the 1 to the 9, if you look at that baton with the 1, it's black and yellow, which represents the lead of personality to the gold of soul. And when you look at the baton with the 9, it's mainly the gold of soul. And the 1 baton is pointed up to the heavens, and the energies are coming through him back down to the earth. Whereas with the 9, the energies are from him back down to the earth. And the 9 is about giving back. The 9's got all the knowledge in their head, but has to let go and trust. And it's about being in service. It's about helping humanity. But the 9s are the perfectionists who have to let go and trust. So if it's a 9 personal year, maybe stand back from things, decide what's productive, what's unproductive, and ideally let go with love all that's unproductive. That 1 to 9 can apply to everything. Any decision you make, anything you do, you can see that 1 to 9 pattern.
Amazing. So very useful exercise for our listeners, so they can look at where they are. But really, just to recap, just before we finish, Jane, thank you so much information to know. I'm going to listen to it 3 or 4 times. But effectively, what we're saying is that this year is very much about people taking personal responsibility for the world that they want to live in. And the chances are things might get a little bit more crazy outside, but it's an invitation for people to go within, inside, and start taking responsibility for the home they want to live in, for the community they want to live in, for the world they want to live in.
I'd say recognizing also that every single moment we have a choice in how we respond, and just be aware of how many people can be manipulating us into thinking we've got no choice when we really do have a choice. So I personally think it's quite important to step away from the drama, try to, as much as possible, to exercise our choice and
listen to ourselves and our intuition.
The 2, which is dominated by water can be very clear. It can also create tsunamis and can destroy things. It's about recognizing you have a choice every moment.
Yes, I've heard that there might be some crazy weather stuff going on as well. Possibly. I don't know where I've got that from, but I hear that.
They're basically massive shifts going on, massive shifts.
Right.
Mother Nature is someone we don't, again, that's a 2, Mother Nature. The 2 is the mother.
Oh, I see.
Mother giving birth.
We've got a lot of the mother energy with all the 2.
Well, yes, the mother giving birth.
Wow.
Structures.
Wow.
A mother we don't mess with is Mother Nature, and we have messed with Mother Nature big time. And it could be Mother Nature letting us know who's in charge.
Absolutely.
It could be quite humbling.
So watch this space, people. But Jane, how can people find you if they would like to do some work with you? Change their name, change their business name.
Just janealton.com is my website. I update every day in terms of numerology on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. There's a free numerology guide on the homepage of my website as well. I would
definitely recommend that, actually. I follow and I love them. They come out on Instagram on a daily basis, and they're always so spot on for what is going on.
I get some wonderful feedback. All sorts of people who I wouldn't imagine would. Anyway, people find it useful. So it's not aimed at anyone in particular. It's just my interpretation of the energies of that day.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
No, not at all. So janealton.com. And then, guys, what we are doing in this energy series is each expert is basically giving their insight and their wisdom to our workbook, which you can sign up for free. So please go to the link below and sign up for your free workbook. Inside that workbook is going to be an exercise that each expert recommends that you do for the year. So we're not going to talk about that now. You have to sign up to get that. But please, by all means, sign up for that now. And Jane, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Great pleasure. Thank you. And the name I was thinking of was Stephen Hawking, by the way. He's a 23/5. Because he was someone who transcended form, was what I wanted to say. You know, he's in a wheelchair, but full of ideas. Anyway, that was, sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. All divine timing, don't you worry. Right, guys, so don't forget to sign up for your workbook, and we will give you the amazing comprehensive workbook as well. And you can basically get your exercise and make sure you're making the most of this year. So what did you think to this interview? Hopefully you got some really good insights, and you really now understand how you can implement the energy of 2022 into your life. Ready? Please do sign up for our free energy workbook. The link is here. You can sign up for your free energy workbook, and inside the workbook are all of our experts giving you an exercise that you can do, that you can integrate and put into your life to make 2022 the best year yet. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. The interviews will be coming out from the 7th of January for the rest of January, all the way to the end of January. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel, like and share, and I really hope that you find a lot of value from the Energy 2022 forecast series.